So another question which is asked in UPSC philosophy paper is regarding the theory of Kierkegaard. Now, Kierkegaard has been a religious existentialist philosopher. Understand the scenario that during 18th century, a lot of dehumanization, industrialization, technological revolution had been taking place across the world. So these existentialist philosophers, they said that the existence of human, it precedes the essence of God. When all the metaphysics was going on, they shut down this metaphysics and they said that why not focus on human dignity and human as an individual who can work upon his potential. So here Kierkegaard, being a religious existentialist, unlike Sartre and Heidegger, he says that truth in terms he defines of subjectivity over here. Now, he says that there are certain objective truths, there are certain subjective truths, but the ultimate reality is known only by subjectivity. Here, subjectivity means passion, commitment, inwardness, right? Objectively, specifically, he was talking about the ethical and the moral truths. Objectively, it is not possible to know about God. So he made this truth equal to reality, and he says that it is equal to subjectivity, where you take a leap of faith. In this subjectivity, you take a leap of faith, and human, he gets out of anxiety, boredom, and despair, right? And then he finds the relief when he takes a leap of faith. So this he has been talking about. Let's see in detail and critically discuss about it. So I've already mentioned that existentialism, it talks that this precedes, okay, the essence of God. Existence of human is in space and time, right? Now, what happens over here, that in order to answer this question, you have to first discuss this, that the truth is first of all inward. My truth, right? My truth and your truth is always going to be different. What matters more, Kierkegaard says, is to have an authentic living, right? And that is only possible when I have lived experiences, when I just don't talk about the idols, I just don't know the facts, rather I'm living in those facts, right? So that the truth over here is inward and it's subjective. We'll see this in detail. Then in existential subjectivity, he discusses that there are three stages. The first stage is your aesthetic stage, right? Where a person is going, he's partying around, right? But ultimately, after clubbing and all, the person, he gets into boredom. Oh, this is very monotonous. The same thing is happening. After a certain point of time, human enters that stage. Second thing he says is the ethical stage, when human starts working on a social level, right? Any kind of social activity. But again, after boredom, this leads to despair. Despair is basically sickness unto death, right? You get this idea, right? You get this idea, even this is not satisfying me. So the third stage, man reaches a religious stage. Understand, these stages, they need not to be in chronology, they can be otherwise. But in the religious stage, the man, he realizes this inwardness when he takes a leap of faith, when he starts living those ideals, right? And then ultimately he lives a satisfied life. It is more about the value you give to your life. It is more about the kind of life you have lived on this earthly realm. Is it clear? Now we are going to criticize also this subjectivity. How? It can lead to epistemological relativism. That means multiple theories of knowledge. There is going to be no common ground for the people to come together on common facts, right? It is going to deny the objective facts, such as your scientific theories and all, right? This is also going to be issue. It can lead to dogmatism. Dogmatism means my theory is only right. The alternative methods are not right. In religious language, in ethical ways of life, everywhere. So this is how we are going to criticize. And ultimately, we are going to, again, in criticize question, you have to supplement it by the good part of the philosopher. He talks about existential self-realization, where the emphasis is on the I, where you as an individual identify the value for yourself. You give meaning to your life, to your authentic self existence. Is it clear? Now, let's see this in detail. Truth is inward and subjective. Now, what he is saying here, first of all, he is defying the objectivity which has been given by both Hegel and Descartes. Descartes, we had already seen when he wanted to have this realization of God, what he was doing, he was basing the premises on the maths, his Cartesian method, right? He was objectively trying to know the subject or the consciousness. So again, he says that this certainty criteria of truth of Descartes is objective, and by objectivity, you can't have the knowledge of God. This is what Kierkegaard says. Hegel, in his objectivity, talks about his dialectical method and the reason. Now, again, Kierkegaard defies this and says that the leap of faith is a matter of commitment. Faith is a matter of passion, passionate living. You can't apply the human categories of intellect, logic, or reason over here, right? So again, he is defying both and he is justifying subjectivity. Again, I'll discuss what is the subjective truth discussed by Hegel. Hegel कहते हैं, I know this is the ritual. As a Christian, I know that I have to go to the church, right? Follow certain rituals. But to passionately, inwardly feel that commitment, right? That is something which is going to satisfy me. The truth that is going to satisfy me, right? And it is by the choice of an existing I. The emphasis he lays here is on passion rather than logic. Something that is objectively uncertain, held fast, and being appropriated passionately in me, right? And it is a matter of faith. It is a lived experience, how I have lived. See, all these existentialists, they will be talking about, for now, please suspend the talks about the existence of God. Please bring in the existence of human before the existence of God, right? Another thing, right? Over here, see, one more thing he says that each individual is aware of his own inner existence. I can't know my friends, suppose Manvi's inner existence or Dipanshi's inner existence, right? Similarly for you. So only I can know my inner existence. This is subjectivity basically, right? Subjectivity, it is immediate, it is consciousness, and it is my own inner experience. Suppose I am hitting a gym. This is a hypothetical example I'm telling you. The kind of experience I get, after running a marathon, I feel very divinely connected to my body. This is my own experience, but this can be different for different person, right? This is what he's telling, that truth is subjective. This subjective truth cannot be taught in classes. This subjective truth does not require any logic or proof. Is it clear? Now, it is said that God, the Holy Father, in Christian mythology, God, the Holy Father, Jesus, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? Now, objective believer is going to say that this is a paradoxical situation, because how God and Jesus, Son and God, how they can be equivalent, right? It will be a confusion for him. But a subjective believer who has taken a leap of faith, he is going to accept this and he will say, God, I believe in you. This is what Kierkegaard is trying to say. Reality can only be known by a realization, by your inwardness, by your passion, when you don't use your categories of mind or logic. Is it clear? Now, first of all, these kind of subjective proofs, my passionate feeling for God, or my, one more example I'll give you over here. Suppose you love someone passionately. He has given this example. So this passionate intensity is going to vary, right? Similarly, we love God, but objectively, you can never realize that thing. Objectively, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. It is not a fact. The concept of God is not a fact, right? It does not require proof, first of all. It cannot be taught in classes. It is only via realization. And it is basically a matter of faith. It is not a matter of logic or reason. Is it clear? These subjective truths, basically, this is what he is talking, is your reality, and this he equates with the God. Is it clear? Now, this is the statement, very classic statement. He says that to seek objectivity is error. Yes. If I objectively want to know God, is it possible? Because it is infinite. You can never know infinite by your human finite senses. So this is what he's saying. Only in objectivity is there decisiveness. And this is the statement you have to write in your answer. What is subjectivity? An objective uncertainty, okay, held fast in a appropriation process of the most passionate inwardness is the truth which is highest attainable for any existing individual. Is it clear? Now, this statement has to be mentioned in the answer. So, I have already discussed the 3 stages he gives. The aesthetic one, you reach anxiety, boredom. Ethical one, again, despair, sickness, and to death. And then you, in this existential realization of being a human, you reach the religious stage over here, right? First one, again, based on emotion, impulses, there is no reason. Again, it will lead to boredom and anxiety. Social life, abstract morals, there is going to be despair, and this despair is sickness unto death. You will feel very uneasy. Yet, I am not clear of this existence. So what a human does after this? He takes a leap of faith and he develops a subjective commitment to the truth which is beyond your reason. Is it clear? One more example Kierkegaard talks about over here is that suppose you will see this is specifically mentioned. Suppose you are going to party, right? And the place wherever you're partying, all of a sudden the ceiling falls and you die immediately. When a human being is aware of that death, when he knows this fact, a human knows this fact that nobody is immortal. Death is mortality, one day. But to have that immediate consciousness, and after that consciousness, to live in the moment, to create the value in your life, to live meaningfully and authentically. This is what Kierkegaard is trying to say with his example of death. And then what happens? Then a person has this dodging sense of realization. Yes, whatever time I have to live it. I have to make choices. It is my choices, and I am responsible for my choices, right? So instead of just knowing the truth, instead of just preaching the truth, this is right and wrong, this leap of faith transforms the man, that he starts living in this truth. He starts feeling his authentic existence. Is it clear? Now, this is just the theory of Kierkegaard. If this was of 150 marks, you have to briefly mention the initial in your approximately 60-70, not marks, 150 words, 60-70 words. So over here, criticism, this is important, okay? First of all, he says that this is our main answer. Now, he's being questioned. You are saying that truth is subjectivity, but what about epistemological relativism? Epistemology is theory of knowledge. So if everyone has a different theory of knowledge, then there is going to be collapse of the objective principles, right? What will be the common grounds or common standards where people can actually communicate with them? This is going to be an issue. Yes, undermining the objective knowledge. Now, what about the verifiable scientific facts or scientific inquiry which had been happening? Even that will become totally falsifiable if you say this. Now, there is a potential of dogmatism. Dogmatism is my way of a religion or my way of living style is good. I believe that everybody should be vegetarianism, right? And I criticize those people who are non-vegetarianism. Now, this is dogmatism. You can't impose your thoughts on others, right? You can't feel like only this is religion is superior or this is my way or highway situation. No, this is another issue over here. Another one, overemphasis has been given on passion and emotion, right? But this is at the expense of logic and reason. Now, in order to counter this, in the critical analysis question, you do have to supplement it the last 20-30 20, 30 words, you have to supplement that this critical analysis, whatever you have given, how Kierkegaard will try to counter it. Basically, here he will give this example of death, right? And he will say that all those subjective truths which he is talking, or he is talking of existential self-realization, those are mostly based for the ethical and religious spheres of life. Is it clear? He says that speculative objective thinking, when a person will be aware of the consequences of the death, he will realize the value of his life. He will start living the life, the truth which satisfies me. This is what he talks about, right? He starts actually having an authentic, meaningful life. Now, this will lead to your subjective existential thinking. I hope this question is clear. I will be bringing more such questions on the past year questions from UPSC philosophy question paper. Please like, share, and subscribe with your friends. This will motivate me to make more such videos. Thank you.